Welcome back to Cambridge Auto Sound. I'm Nathan, and this is a Ferrari 360 Challenge Stradale. Not easy for me to say. It's a 2003 car. It was kind of built as the track-go-in version of the 360 Modena. The rival at the time was probably the 996 GT3 RS, the one that would have had the white car with the red or blue decals. And it's kind of my era of car. I did a lot of these early on in my detailing career, so it's nice to have one in and work on it from an audio point of view. This came in to have a bit of an audio investigation because it had various head units and trackers and hands-free kits fitted to it over the various years, which actually I've got all the bits for in this box, and I'll show you that in a minute. But there was a hell of a lot of wires just poked behind the scenes and poking out of various panels, and the owner wasn't too sure what worked, what was live. So it came in, we stripped the car apart and took all of that out, got it back to basics, and then started saying, right, what do we want to do to get it to a good standard so you can listen to it on your road trips over to the Alps. Let me show you around the car because it's a tricky one to work on. For anyone that knows the Challenge Stradale especially, they'll know, or they might be wondering how we did an audio upgrade in it. But I'll grab the camera and I'll show you around it now. So first of all, this is the box of various wires and bits we took out of it. It had an old Ferrari head unit in it, but it must have had an updated Alpine in at some point, because then this was just screwed into the floor beneath the passenger seat, Alpine DVD player. So that came out. There was this speaker behind the driver's seat. I guess that was part of a hands-free kit at some point. And then all of these wires, some of them are to do with trackers. There was 2 different trackers in there. There's a Vodafone one. Yeah, there was a lot of stuff in it that's all come out. So we've managed to tidy all of that up. And then we've put what I think is a pretty impressive sound system for one of these inside it. I'll just show you around the car because we gave it a quick clean up when it came in as well. Quite a cool looking thing. So what we did is, those of you that know, these have got carbon door cards, and we cut a massive hole in the carbon and put a speaker there. No, I'm only kidding, of course we didn't do that. Yeah, that poses the first problem. There's nowhere to put a speaker. There's no location on the dash. There's no pillar, tweeter location. We did discuss pillars, which we might come back to later. And there's nothing on that lower. There's no kind of like speaker hole down here. What you do have is a speaker box in the middle. I think even that was an option for if you wanted a hi-fi in these. You got this speaker box in the middle that, from the best of my kind of research, would have had a single speaker and then a bass reflex speaker. So i.e. a cone that hasn't got a magnet behind it, just to kind of reproduce the bass that the single speaker plays. That had already been butchered and messed around with, so that didn't have very nice looking speakers in there. It had some little 5-inch coax speakers in. I've got a picture which I'll overlay. Unfortunately, I didn't take one with it completely all together. I was just a bit too excited to get it all stripped apart. But I kind of put the grille back in, so you can see the old grille would have had this grey horrible surround, and it had a horrible logo on it. And the speakers that were behind it were quite a bright silver cones. They showed through quite obviously. But the owner, I don't think it was actually connected, because the Ferrari head unit that was in it didn't even have Bluetooth, so we had no way of actually playing to that. So first thing on the list was to get a retro looking but functional head unit in there. So straight away, Blaupunkt RCM82, it's pretty much the go-to head unit for these kind of cars. It's does Bluetooth, hands-free calling, DAB if you want it, although we didn't put a glass-mounted DAB aerial on this car, and then obviously FM. But yeah, the main thing is that you can just jump in and your phone connects to it via Bluetooth. You've then got a tiny little Bluetooth button just there, a dedicated one, so if your phone doesn't automatically come up, you just press Bluetooth without diving deep into the menu, and then that's it. You just control the volume, skip the tracks, and that's about all you need from a head unit. Quite expensive for that functionality, but that's what you've got to pay to get that retro look, unfortunately. Yes, it doesn't fit. It's not that it doesn't fit, it's just that this cage has sagged slightly over time. So this is a fibre board or fiberglass mount that it's just got 2 fixing points right in the middle. So obviously over time, when someone's possibly fitted the Alpine, not pointing fingers, but I tried to squeeze this up and clamp it a bit to get it a bit flusher, but that's about as good as we can do. So that was the first part of the job. Yeah, next thing was then to obviously come up with something for speakers. So let me grab a torch. And then there was actually an awful lot of space underneath the dash. So that is a 5 1/4 or whatever the metric sizes are, I'm not sure, but it's a 5-inch Morel coax speaker that is on a board that Daniel designed upside down in a footwell. So well done there, because it's not the easiest place to work in. But it doesn't obstruct anything. There's a little cutout so you can get to your, I can't even see it, there is the emergency release for the bonnet. It doesn't impede the passenger's foot space at all. I'm a size 11 shoe and I've sat in here and I'm nowhere near kicking it, so it's as hidden away as possible. You can't see it at all unless you literally get your head in the footwell. In fact, the only way I can see it is if I put my camera in there, or if I get on my back and put my head right in the footwell. So yeah, that's on a board that's been made and then wrapped in this suede that matches the interior quite nicely if anyone ever does get under there. Yes, it's not a enclosure, or no, I should say it's not an enclosure. No, it's not pointing towards you. No, it's not going to win any awards. But for this kind of car, where you're not going to start cutting holes in the top of the dash, we had discussed a pillar build, but we didn't do it on this visit. We might in the future do a pillar build just to put a tweeter up onto this part of the pillar to get some width in the system. And I'll tell you why when I show you on the driver's side, because as clever as we've been on the driver's side to get a speaker under here as well, it is unfortunately very central. And so it has the effect of pulling all the sound into the middle of the car. So because of the steering column, the pedals and whatnot, that still doesn't impact any kind of or cause any space issues. It's on a smaller board, but because they're just playing into free air, it's doesn't matter. It doesn't change the enclosure size behind it. They're not sealed, but they actually pull the sound forwards an amazing amount. But because of where that is in the car, if I jump in, it is basically, where's the grill? There. So it's kind of here by my left leg, which obviously is then by my left ear, instead of being out here where we really want a speaker. So it would be nice at some point to have at least a tweeter, maybe a kind of a wideband speaker of some kind out on the pillars that then we can tune and time align and give it that width a little bit more. But for what they do and for what I think the guy's going to do with this car, I think this will be, well, I'm pretty sure he's on his way. He'll be here in about half an hour, so I think he'll be blown away with this. I hope he will anyway. We also just routed, he asked that we route his charge cable for his quad lock just out of that A pillar there, instead of it was previously just hung across the dash. Or I've just seen a cable tie I need to trim. Anyone that's taken these consoles up before know that you've got to redo that cable tie, which is a bit of a pain to try and thread through. Let me just reset the seat. I've just pulled the passenger seat forwards. Apologies if this one's even more unprofessional than the rest of the videos. I've been ill the last week and I'm just kind of trying to get back into the swing of things now, so my brain's not properly functioning quite as well as it should be. Right, so the next thing we did, obviously we'd removed those horrible coax speakers from this box. Next was to try and find a grille that was as plain as possible looking, and obviously I've got a light shining into this, so this is going to show them up as kind of critically as any time is going to, and I think they look quite stealth and quite nice. But these are some Morel Hybrid 5 inches. I chose those partly because of the plainness of the cone, partly because of the size. We had to Dremel out the inside of the opening very slightly just to allow the basket in, because it was a few more bigger, or the speaker was a few more bigger than the original hole there, so we just Dremeled that out. But that's a great looking speaker, but you don't just choose speakers on their looks, it's also a nice little 5-inch mid bass. We're not asking too much of those. I think they're playing down to about 70 hertz, and then they're only playing up to about 850, 900 hertz, so it doesn't pull the vocal stage back too much. And then the eagle-eyed among you, to help out with bass, we've also got, which under the light looks a really bad match, but weirdly so does this. So it's actually fairly similar, but when the light's off it looks near on identical to that red stitch section behind. But we fabricated a board, or I should say Daniel did all the fabrication on this, because like I say, I was ill for a big part of it. Fabricated a board, and then that's the Hertz DBA201F, which is branded as an underseat subwoofer. I'd like to see the seat that fits underneath, because that's massive, and that's not fit under any seat that I've ever seen. There's a little cover. If I put the camera on an angle there, let's move the light there. Cover, 3D printed cover, and wrap that as well, just to kind of cover the dials and where the wire goes in, so it's a little bit more stealth again. And that's using all the OEM fixing points. So there's normally a, oh, this is a bad video, I apologise. There's normally a little baskety weaved thing there, so you can put luggage. That's utilising those fixing points, so we haven't drilled any holes, haven't cut anything. So this will all go back to completely standard, which is always the aim of everything I do, if possible. But yeah, very happy with those under dash locations. The way it pulls the soundstage forward, so I'm going to give the customer a demo. I can play him the system. Oh yeah, that's the other thing, of course. There is an amp, almost forgot. There's an amp underneath this seat, which I'll drop in some footage or some pictures, but that's the Match Up 6 DSP. I've completely forgot about that. Yes, it's a 6-channel. We're only utilising 4 of those channels at the moment, but we've run the wires to the front for if we do the tweeters in the future. So yeah, there's 2 channels wasted in inverted commas at the moment, but it does a great job. It's still a great price point. It's got a DSP in it, so I can do the equalisation and time alignment. Just show you that sub from this side as well. Very smart, and with the seat back you barely see it, so I've pulled it forward so you can see it, so it looks a bit more obvious, but pretty stealth, and it does add a lot of depth. It's going to have quite a job to keep up with the volume of this car, because I think it's going to be a loud one when it's thrashing along. Yeah, I think it's going to be a loud one when it's thrashing along on the way to the Alps. I've played it with the engine running and the revs up to kind of try and get an indication of the ambient volume that's going to, or the ambient noise that's going to be there, and it does match it, and you can definitely hear it. So yeah, it's the best we can do. I'm over the moon in reality with the way it sounds for the kind of car it is, bearing in mind you don't have any of those speaker locations like we showed you. So yeah, great install. Hopefully it hasn't taken away any originality of the car, but the owner can now use it, enjoy it, listen to music on his way over to the Alps, and then when he gets to the Alps, turn it all off, drop the windows, and just listen to that amazing V8 engine. Thanks for listening and watching. Sorry if I've been out of breath and a bit more over the place. Like I say, I've been pretty ill for the past week on fairly strong antibiotics at the moment. Hopefully things will get back on track. We've got a brand new Range Rover in the room that's causing us to scratch our head a little bit, but that's going to be on the channel in due course. That's having a big upgrade. I've also got the Audison Forza 814 amp that's sitting on my desk upstairs, that I need to do the 3rd part of the series where we did the Arc, the Helix, and then obviously the Audison. So I'll get to that as well. For now, I'll play, or I'll drop in whatever other videos I've got of this. Not going to bother doing a sound demo of this one because it's not really going to show up, I don't think, but the people that have sat in the car have said it's brilliant. Hopefully I can get the owner to do a little testimonial on the website or something. But yeah, that's it. Watch out as well. The car he's dropping off today, I won't say what it is. It's one I've never seen in the flesh before. Quite excited to see it. I don't know what we're going to do on it. We'll see. Depends how happy he is with this one. Thanks for watching. I'm Nathan, and we'll see you in the next video.